Hey guys, welcome back. I hope that this finds you during the time that you need it the most right now. I think that we are in a period of transition once again. We're not in the beginning of what we're all currently going through right now. I don't necessarily want to say that we're in the middle, but I think that we're in a transition moment, don't you think? So I hope that this really finds you at a moment that you need it the most, a moment that you need to be inspired, but most importantly, to give you something tangible enough that you hear it, it clicks, the light bulbs go off, and you're like, wow, this is exactly what I needed to put everything together, piece it all together like a puzzle, and put it into action. So let's go ahead and start. Now, most of the things that I'm going to talk about are things that I recently heard, but I have heard them before. However, listening to the same things in new eyes, in new seasons, and new perspective can literally be the game changer to everything in your life. So maybe before you heard things, about, starting a side business, and it really, really wasn't intriguing to you, and it really didn't matter to you. But now during what everyone is going through at the same time, simultaneously, may I add, you're like, wow, this sounds like a really good opportunity. This sounds like exactly what I needed at the exact time that I needed it. Because right now, maybe you got your hours cut at work. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you know someone that's struggling and you're like, wow, even if this opportunity is not for me, it's for someone else. And let me tell you, that is half of my entire team right now. And it's very eye-opening and humbling and amazing to see just the amount of value and self-growth that a lot of our team is having just by simply saying yes to something that maybe in a different season of their life they would have said no to, right? So some of the things I'm going to tell you about didn't directly come from me, but maybe you didn't hear it, or maybe you haven't heard it, and maybe you just need something and someone that you'll actually be willing to listen to. In this case, maybe it's me, to say it to you, for you to finally hear it in a different way. So number one is acceptance. And honestly, this is crazy because it's in any cycle of life. It's accepting that something has happened. It's accepting that change is happening. It's accepting that things will never probably be normal or are normal again, because in order for things to grow, in order for things to persevere, in order for things to enhance, like technology, changes have to be made. People have to change the way that they think. People have to change the way that they act. People have to change sometimes what they believe in for them to be stretched in order for you to grow. So number one is accepting. And something that really stuck out to me, and it was just like it blew me out of the water, was you have to be willing to accept a new normal. Why? Because no one has an iPhone 1. Okay? No one. I don't even know what those are. No one has an iPhone 1. No one has a Razr phone right now. No one probably has those phones back in the day, and this will tell you my age, that you used to play Snake on. Why? Because you have accepted the facts that iPhones are taking over, shout out, and you're adapting to the future because it's according to the marketplace. It's what they're coming out with. It's the new technology. It's what is needed. It's to keep up with our busy lifestyles. It's to give us what we need at the time that we want it. So that's good in a good way, but it's also not in a good way because we want it now. And when it doesn't happen now, like our current status, like all of us had goals for 2020. Guess what? All of us still have goals for 2020. For some of us, we're not going to be able to do those goals. Why? Because we're not going to be traveling. We're not going to be doing certain things. Now, the question is, what are you going to do about it now? It's not, what can I do about the goals that I had? You can still ask that question. What am I going to do today that is going to set me up maybe for the end of the year or for the next year for me to accomplish those goals faster, quicker, more efficient, better? What am I going to do to grow myself to the point that I have adapted to the changes, but I now am adding value to other people and whatever it is that you do to know that it's going to be better. So accepting the fact, even without knowing what's going to happen next. And I think that that's key, right? So after the fact that you have accepted this, like, okay, we're going through what we're going through. It's hitting everybody differently. And the crazy thing is it's simultaneously at the same time around the world, right? For some, it's better. For some, it's not. At the end of the day, it has affected many, many people. So what am I going to do about it? What are you going to do next? Are you going to write that book, sis, that you've been putting off because you had no time and now you have all the time in the world, but now you're telling yourself you still have no time because now your time is being preoccupied by other things like Netflix? No harm for them. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to go ahead and start that side business and build that side business? Because guess what? Unfortunately, you were one of the ones that got fired. What are you going to do about it? Let's say that everything stayed the same for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that everything stayed the same for you. I have people that tell me like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I kept my job. I'm so grateful that I got to do this. But I know I'm getting more and more work because it's just blah, 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 right? It's still not the same. You're getting piled on at work with more work. You're getting to have to do extra stuff. Why? Because God is trying to stretch you. Are you willing to allow and to accept the fact that you are growing, right? So number 2 is building and creating. Guys, it's your energy. Like, what are you allowing in your mind and your thoughts come out of your mouth every single day? What are you building? Are you building an empire? Are you building a team? Are you building yourself? Are you building your relationship? Are you building your communication skills? What are you building? What are you creating during this time? Let me tell you, during this time, for those that know me, I am not a homebody. I love to be out. I love being at home, but because I love the freedom. I love freedom. I don't like people to tell me what I can do and can't do, okay? So freedom to a certain extent, of course. But, having to stay close, to home, it has allowed me to give myself, my team, my marriage, my kids, my life, a whole different type of focus. No, it hasn't been just chill mode. If anything, it has been, in tough times, I've worked twice as hard. And it shows. So ask yourself, what am I building? What am I creating? What am I planting every single day that 3 months from now, that 4 months from now, that 5 months from now, that 6 months from now, it's just gonna be like bamboo season and just come out of the ground and grow, right? So number 3, it's finding your inner peace. Find it. Find what that is. I recently had a conversation with a couple of people, regarding, things that they were going through. And they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to, pass this job interview. I have to pass this test. I have to. And I'm like, okay, well, what happens if you don't? Will your whole entire world crumble? Or will you just actually have a chance to not throw yourself into a panic attack, breathe, regroup, rethink, and give it the best that you have again? Guys, when I first when I first went for my boards to become a nurse, I failed. I freaking failed it. It said fail on my nursing boards. Why? I was young. At that time, I was in a program that I could do it while I was in high school. So imagine a 14-year-old in high school, trying to learn herself, trying to learn responsibility with a nasty, stubborn attitude, trying to juggle her feelings, trying to juggle emotions, friendships, this, that, drama, and trying to have nursing school at that age from 14 to 17. Yeah, I made some pretty shitty choices, but guess what? It taught me, and I spent the money, and it wasn't even my money, it was my parents' money, right? I spent the money. I went and took the test. I'm like, I know that this is, and it was my mindset. I knew that I didn't study how I should have. I knew that I skipped so many days at school, so I knew that I wasn't retaining shit. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go take this test. Because if I don't take it, I will never know if I could actually do it. But I knew that I wasn't prepared. I did it anyway. So, imagine, I dropped a couple hundred. I went, I failed. And I said, okay, guess what? You have two choices. You're going to either cry the hell about it, or you're going to just get your shit together and do it again. And that's exactly what I did. I went through nursing school at the age of 17, 18. And by the age of 20, I believe, I was already a registered nurse into my bachelor's right away. And I passed the first time around. when it was my RN boards. Why? Because my mindset was ready. I heard it different. It hit different. I studied different. My habits were different. I was willing to do whatever it took, even if I fell down, to get back up. Why? Because I had accepted the fact that I had failed the first time. I was ready to build and create the second time came around, and I found my peace knowing that, hey, I failed because you really weren't ready. Your habits were crap. But that's why people were like, why are you so focused? Like, why? Because I didn't want to fail myself again. It wasn't an option in my book. And I think that when you finally decide to make it a priority, whatever it is in your life right now, you're going to be like, wow, if I would have done this sooner. You don't have time to even think about that. You're doing it now. So just keep going. Don't stop. All gas, no brakes. Period. Right? Adapting to what is happening right now. A lot of people can't go anywhere. A lot of people can't do this. A lot of people can't do that. Okay, well, what can you do? Maybe this was time for you to stop and think, where can I volunteer? How can I plug myself in? Who do I need to reach out so I can maybe grow spiritually? Who can I pray for? Oof, fire me up. Who can you pray for besides yourself? Because maybe you don't have the strength to pray for yourself right now. Maybe you don't even believe your own prayers, but maybe you can pray for someone else. And then connect with those people, plug yourself into a group that maybe has what you are looking for. Peace, kindness, love, community. They're building, they're winning. You see the consistency, even if they're not winning. There's such a amazing thing watching someone when they're just fucking consistent. Like, I'm just like, man, this person is so consistent, day in and day out. And essentially they're growing. Maybe it doesn't show to you, but it's showing to them and how they show up and how they talk and how they treat you and how they mentor and how they coach. And essentially, boom, you're going to be like, wow, overnight success. No, you just don't realize how many years of consistency of work, day in and day out, they have had to put to be where they're at today. So plug yourself in. Growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will get better. John Maxwell said that. And I'm like, wow. If you're growing, you're probably going to guarantee yourself that you're going to be in a better attitude tomorrow instead of the same shitty attitude that you're in today because you didn't take any good steps today to help your tomorrow get better. And it just sits with me and it dwells with me, and I'm like, wow. Accepting the facts of how things are, continuing to move on. Everybody has a healing process. Everybody has a hurting process. Everybody has a process. I think to me now, when I know that problems or challenges are coming, I'm just like, what's the next one? Let's go. How can I move on from it? What is the solution? How can I quickly persevere it? Because if I think too much about it, I dwell in it. And I let it get the best of me just taking control and saying, you know what? It is what it is. What can I do about it with it now? Give me the facts. Let me build. Let me create. Let me become better. Let me find my inner peace in the midst of what's going on. Because there's this quote that I love. And it literally, it has stuck with me for so long. And I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys because I literally say it to myself every single month. The enemy is not after your money or your stuff. And I can't remember who wrote this, by the way. The enemy is not after your money or your stuff. He wants your mind, your attitude, your heart, your faith, your peace. Understand that you won't get attacked over the tangible things in your life. The enemy is fighting you over the things that you can't see. So even though your finances are taking a hit, even though your relationships are kind of shitty right now, even though maybe your health, the enemy wants your mind. The enemy wants your mind, because I know a lot of people in the same shitty situations, and they inspire me. They inspire me to be better. They inspire me because of their faith, their beliefs, how they are, how they're showing up, how even when they can't go anymore, they still go a little bit more. So ask yourself, what am I willing to do now What am I willing to accept now? What am I willing to build? What am I willing to be at peace with? What am I willing to adapt? Who am I willing to connect or put people to connect with each other? That you can be that bridge, that you can be that yes to them, that you can be that your yes is somebody else's breakthrough. The moment that you can quickly solve your problems, you're solving so many other people's problems, because now you have that value and you have the experience to tell them, look, I went through the same thing, but this is how I did it. So this was a short one, but I hope you got a whole lot of value from it. I love you guys. I hope it finds you when you need it the most. Obviously, the birds are chirping. They're cheering me on. They agree. And that you share this, and share this, and share this. Don't be selfish. Share. Maybe it's for you right now. Maybe it's for you later. But maybe it's for someone else in this very moment that needs you to be that, yes, I'm sharing this. And I love all of you guys that have given me feedback. Like, I'll get a random text message, a random DM, a random something. And I love it. Leave a review. What did you like? What didn't you like? I'm up for it. I'm up for reading it. It allows me to be better for myself so then I can later be better to you. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Love you guys.